So I guess we have a nostalgia theme to this year's conference, so I should start off by giving you a little background as to who I am. In my current role, I'm responsible for product strategy at Oracle for all of our logistics and order management products, which includes transportation and global trade, the focus of our conference here. I started off as a G-Log employee back in the year 2000. I think I was employee about 130 or so. I worked for Carl Baker in the product management group, that the people who tasked with getting our requirements. And then after a few years in 2003, I decided it was time to join another startup. I went to work at Oracle, slightly larger startup. And I was there for a couple of years, and then I got lonely. I missed the beer and cake. I missed all the parties. I missed all the fun of being here in Philadelphia. So my first task, I was given this job of being product strategy director for transportation, and I said, well, we could build a product, of course, or we could just, buy one. And we were successful in convincing Larry Ellison that it was a good investment of money, and that's how G-Log was acquired and became Oracle Transportation Management. And we've had, obviously, 10 years of fantastic success since. All right, so what I'm going to be doing here today, however, is product strategy. I will not be living in the past, so to speak. I'm going to be talking to you about the future direction of the product. What are the important business and technology drivers that we're using to move the product forward? There may even be a mention of cloud. Yes, that might come up. All right, safe harbor statement. Again, it's forward-looking stuff. Things can change. I also thought I could relabel this as my Donald Trump slide. So it basically means whatever I'm going to say, I can't be held responsible. Right? I can't be held responsible. And then I learned this morning that my presentation is being recorded. So what I really wanted to say about that slide, I couldn't say. So, all right. So I just have two main agenda topics. Product strategy, but before I get into that, talk a little bit about current state, because again, if you're going to plan a roadmap on how to get to a destination, you kind of need to know where you are first, or at least that's what I tell my wife. All right, so here we go. Current state, we are in a fantastic position, without exaggeration, and the reason for that is because of all of you folks here in the room. All the customers we've had over the last 15 years, some of you have been there on the long road, some of you are relatively new, and some of you haven't even made that decision yet. You're here trying to understand a little bit more about our product and the community and whether it's the right product for you. But the reason we have this market leadership position is because of the success that we've had with our customers, the success we've had in building up the ecosystem of partners and solutions around that. And so it's really because of all the work that you folks have done that have brought us to that position. Right? So great customer success. It's resulted in market leadership. Now, of course, every software vendor says they have the leading solution, or they're a market leader. So when I say market leader, what do I mean by that? It's a very specific thing. It comes down to money. Okay? Oracle's not a charity. That may be news to some of you, but we're not a charity. So we're here in the business to make money with our products. And in transportation, we are #1 in market share. So we make more money on selling transportation than anybody else. That doesn't mean you're going to get a better discount from us or anything, so don't look for anything there. But that money is very important. It's not just a selfish thing to pay for beer and cake and parties and all that kind of stuff. That money, of course, a lot of that money is what's going back into the investment in the product, continue with that product innovation, so that we're not just the best product of the last 15 years, we are the best product for the next 15 years. Okay? So let me talk a little bit about customer success. Again, if I go back in the time machine for when G-Log started, one of the objectives was we were going to build the first true global transportation management system. So we're going to support multimodal shipment planning and execution, and help companies manage the movement of their goods regardless of where those goods are shipping from or shipping to. And suffice it to say, I think we have done a very good job of achieving that. This slide really serves two purposes. One, it demonstrates some of the countries in which new customers, where we've sold our transportation product over the last couple of years. Just in the last few months, we've added our first First customers in Vietnam and Israel and Chile and a whole host of other places. The second purpose this slide serves is it helps me plan my vacations and business travel. So I think I've been to almost every single one of those countries. And if not, probably in the future I will be there. Right. The other important aspect of the success, and really the thank you, goes to all the companies represented with these logos, and there's more of you, I just couldn't fit all on one slide. These are all companies who have been successful with our transportation or global trade management product, but even more important than that, they've been willing to share their stories in forums like the Special Interest Group, whether that's the conference here in Philadelphia or the ones we've held in other locations around the world, or they've presented at another Oracle supply chain event or other events. So I encourage you, if you haven't done that and you have an OTM or a global trade management story to tell, to please do so. We're always interested in, of course, hearing that. And I say we, it's both the customer community and us, the product team. We're very interested to learn what it is that folks have done with the product, and we're also interested in those things that were challenges, because it's those challenges and addressing them that help make the product a better product. Move to the cloud. Yes, there will be some cloud discussion here. All right, but for all the kind of joking about it, it was a very, very important thing for us to do. If I think about the major milestones in the lifetime of our product, the move to the cloud is one of those critical ones. So first milestone, the founding of Glog in 1999. Another major milestone, the acquisition by Oracle in 2005. And in 2014, or 2014, as I try to tell my kids, we moved to the cloud. And that's a very, very important thing for us to do, because the future of software applications are cloud-based. Now, many of you may not be there yet today. Most of our customers are running transportation or global trade management on-premise, but I guarantee in the future, more and more of your applications, whether it's transportation or global trade or order management or finance, they will be cloud-based. And the reason for that is it's just too compelling a value proposition. It's too compelling for both customers and for vendors. It's a real win-win for both sides. So by moving transportation and global trade to be available as cloud-based products, we have helped set ourselves up for being not just the best product, as I said, over the past 15 years, but the best product for the next 15. And the success we've had on this launch has been tremendous. Most times when we introduce new products, of course, we have to go through a business planning process, and we pull out our estimators on how many customers we think we're going to get in the first year and how much money this is going to make, and then no one ever wants to go back afterwards, because usually the reality wasn't quite what the justification was. So this is one of those cases where we do actually want to go back, because within the first year we've more than doubled our target for what we expected in terms of new customers adopting either transportation or global trade in the cloud. So real critical to us. Now, again, as Jim mentioned, it's one product, so all the enhancements, all the features, everything we do for cloud-based customers or on-premise-based customers really benefits both sides, and we're going to continue to offer both of those choices, going forward. All right, and so that leads us to market leadership. I talked about market share, the money side of it. Another way that we measure, how well we're doing in the marketplace is the Gartner Magic Quadrant. We're fortunate enough in our product category that Gartner actually has a Magic Quadrant. If you're not already familiar with how this quadrant works, the executive summary is basically you have two dimensions. The y-axis, or the vertical, is about ability to execute, and it's really a measure of the functional capabilities. Gartner has a definition of what they consider to be sort of the ideal transportation product, and then they validate the vendors against that, not by what we tell them our product does, but by going out and speaking to customers who are using it and validating that, yes, indeed, there are companies out there using the product, using those functional capabilities. The other dimension is completeness of vision. So again, Gartner has identified a number of business trends or technology trends, and they want to evaluate each software vendor on their strategy for addressing those trends. So we lead in both dimensions, and we've been in that leadership position for a number of years. And so our job, our product strategy job, then, is how do we make sure that we stay up up and to the right and in that leaders quadrant. All right, and we do that by continuing to invest in the product. All right, the very best version of the product is the next version. All right, the next version always has the latest and greatest, and we continue to put out new releases, not just because we like to have release parties where we, drink beer and eat cake, but because we are, addressing the needs, the feedback that we're getting from existing customers, from the marketplace, and where we think our product needs to be. As Jim mentioned, 6.4 just went generally available, and we're already well into the workings of the next couple releases, and we'll continue to deliver those new releases for the foreseeable future. I'd actually thought about, as a joke, since we've been working on this product for so long, that maybe I would just come up here, and when I got to the product strategy section, I was just going to say we're done. It's 15 years, it's lights out, this is my last slide, I'm going home. Right? But then you'd all be disappointed, and there'd be a whole bunch of dead time to fill in this 1-hour time slot. So I decided we're going to keep things going. All right? So we have a very active product roadmap, way more things to ideas than we have ability to execute on. But what I wanted to talk about here in the balance of our time were some of those major drivers. Not every single functional area that we're investing in, not every single enhancement, but talk about kind of the big buckets. All right, so the first one is cloud. Then I'm going to talk about user experience. I'm going to talk about globalization, and last I'll talk about decision support. Now we've already delivered a cloud-based product. Right? So what are we going to do next? What does it mean when I talk about the cloud strategy? As I mentioned before, cloud has become incredibly important. There is a lot of hype around it. The software industry runs on hype and lattes and, heirloom organic whatevers. All right, but there is real value there, as I said, and it's a real win-win for both customers in terms of cost, complexity, and it's a win for us. I think, as Jim mentioned a little earlier, one of our number one category of service requests, of support requests, all have to do with, I don't want to say mistakes, people not doing necessarily the correct thing on implementing or maintaining their systems. They don't apply the right database patch version, something goes wrong, right? So we get to eliminate all that. So it actually makes our lives easier, and it is, at the end of the day, all about us. But it also makes your life easier, because those things, shouldn't go wrong, and you shouldn't have to invest time and energy in kind of keeping the software running. Instead, you can focus your energies on making use of the software. Okay? And when those new versions come out, you don't have to build a business case for why we need to do an upgrade. All right, you're doing an upgrade, all right, because it will be upgraded, and we will keep you current, and you'll be able to take advantage of all those new features, and not just for the feature's sake, but for the business value that those features enable. All right, so we have our product out there. We had it available on the price list to purchase in September of last year. I talked about it at last year's conference. We started the first provisioning meaning creating the cloud environments, in February, and now we've had our first few customers go live. Where we're going with the product next is we want to take advantage of some of the other cloud services that Oracle has to offer. And what I want to focus on for the next few minutes is talking about something called Platform as a Service, or PaaS. One more acronym for you in case you didn't have enough already from Oracle. So I'm going to talk about Platform as a Service and what that means specifically to transportation and global trade management customers. All right, the reason we have invested in Platform as a Service is because one size does not fit all. Right? We recognize, when I say we, the big Oracle we recognize that there are legitimate reasons why customers need to make modifications to our out-of-the-box software that go beyond what can be done as a configuration item. In other words, they need to do a customization. Okay? And with our standard cloud policies, and this is not just for transportation and global trade, it's across the board at Oracle, it's across the board for all cloud products, you need to stay on common versions of the software, no customizations. You're not going to get into the database. You're not going to, monkey around with the core code and structures. But you need to have a way, realistically, to enable customers to do those special things, to do those extensions, to do those customizations that are critical to their business or unique to their own value proposition. And Platform as a Service enables us to do that, okay? Or is one of the tools that we use to enable that. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't offer a lot of configuration within the product itself. So the way we position this in the marketplace is that with Oracle Cloud, you can personalize your cloud environment. I don't know who comes up with these words, personalize. So I can personalize my cloud environment. And that comes in two flavors. You can tailor it. Tailor it is all the things you can do inside the product, and I'll talk about some of that with a transportation context in a moment. Or you can enrich it. So tailor, enrich. Sounds like a pop band. Anyway. So what about tailoring? All right. So with our product today, there's a lot of configuration capability. You can modify the user interfaces to a certain extent, add tabs, move tabs around, move fields around. You can extend the data model. So we have flex fields, qualified reference numbers, qualified reference remarks. You can make changes to workflow processes. You can modify reports and dashboards. So there's a lot of configuration you can do in the core product. Right? With Platform as a Service, it opens up a whole new set of things that you can do, not by customizing OTM or GTM directly, but by either building or deploying or utilizing either your own applications or third-party applications that run on the same Oracle Cloud infrastructure and integrate into that OTM or GTM environment that you have, right? So Platform as a Service, we talk about it as one thing. It actually consists of a number of different products from Oracle. This is not meant as a PaaS commercial. I won't go through all of them. But basically, these are different technology development tools for either building or running applications, either applications that you build yourself. So build your own mobile app that ties into OTM, for example, build your own Java application, or through the Oracle Cloud Marketplace, you can access and run certified applications that were built by third-party companies, right? And the key here is that they run in the same Oracle Cloud infrastructure, the same hosting environment, subject to the same service levels, and they integrate in with that cloud environment, transportation, global trade, and give you this additional functionality that you need. Right? So here's some of the things you can do. Again, you could develop your own custom applications, or if you're a partner of ours, you could develop applications and then have those applications available in the cloud marketplace so any customer could buy it, access, and run it. We have a document sharing service. We can create mobile applications. I'm going to talk about integration in a moment, so we'll save that one for a bit. And as I said, you can run the certified third-party apps. So here's just a simple example to illustrate that. We have a mechanism inside of OTM for entering shipment status events. For some folks, they may want a more, customized version of how that happens. Maybe they want to be able to enter, a bunch of statuses all at once or the whole shipment all at once. And so one way that you could do that would be to develop an application that runs on PaaS and integrates into OTM at the existing integration touch points that OTM has. So create my shipments in OTM, pass the shipments off to my PaaS application, enter in my shipment status updates, pass that information back to OTM. Right? So it provides a nice clean mechanism for us to support these, again, third-party or custom applications that need to tie into our products. Right? So in terms of what does this boil down to, an actual roadmap, what are the things that we need to do to better support it? So Jim spoke earlier about the REST services or RESTful services. Again, that's just another type of web service, another type of integration point. And those integration mechanisms really lend themselves well to, again, integrating to these types of either custom or third-party applications. We have a document sharing cloud service, again, so we can do document management in our products today, and we build certifications to third-party document storage systems. We have not yet done that for the Oracle cloud-based document storage system, so we have that on our roadmap. And then the third one is also critical to making this all kind of hang together, and that is federated single sign-on. So if I've got a user definition, security policy definitions around my transportation product, and I've got some customized applications or other applications around it, I want to be able to manage all those users and all those privileges together. And certainly from a user experience perspective, I don't want to have to be logging in and out of different applications as I navigate from one to the other. Right? And then the last one, which I'll talk a bit coming up, is the whole concept of integration cloud services and what we're doing there. So what is integration cloud service? Well, one of the things that sort of becomes a necessary solution requirement if you move all your applications to the cloud as a vendor such as Oracle, it means we still have to deal with the integration issue. And if you're telling everybody they should be using cloud applications, you don't want to have to tell them, well, to do integration, you need to run on-premise middleware to make that happen. Right? So integration cloud service from Oracle is a cloud, at a simple level, cloud-based middleware capability that we're using internally to develop integrations between our different cloud products, and that you can use either as a partner to build certified integrations or as a customer that you can use to develop integrations between your transportation or your global trade environment and other systems that you may have in your IT network, whether those are systems you run on-premise or whether those are other systems that you run in an Oracle cloud or some other cloud. All right. Again, integration is complex. We don't want to talk about it, but the reality is, of course, a lot of these projects involve some pretty complex integration needs. And when you get to cloud-based environments, that integration complexity doesn't go away. Indeed, it even gets a little bit harder, because not all the technology elements are in your control. You're dealing with perhaps different vendors, different cloud environments, different integration technologies. And so part of what we're trying to achieve with the integration cloud services, or ICS, is to make some of that complexity go away. Right? So some of the inherent advantages that cloud brings, but also some of the out-of-the-box features that ICS has in terms of enabling customers to more easily build integrations, right? So we have this term we call citizen developer, which means I can use ICS to build integrations, but I'm not necessarily, a Java programmer. I'm not necessarily a super expert in the glog XML and every single detail of how to do a mapping. Right? So to make that happen, we're doing a couple things. One, we are building out the necessary adapter or connector, if you like, so that if you're using transportation or global trade management as a cloud offering from Oracle, and you want to use integration cloud services as a connectivity platform, you will have an automated way or automatically be able to have access to your OTM environment, see that environment, see all the integration touch points, and be able to begin creating or using integrations. So ICS enables you to create your own, and we are also, as Oracle, providing a number of cases pre-seeded content for ICS so that you can use those pre-built integrations either as a starting point or use them immediately kind of out of the box as they are. All right. And the first place where we're making those investments in terms of building out these pre-built ICS-based integrations is with the rest of our cloud portfolio. Right? Some of you may not be aware, but as a $38 billion a year company, we actually have other products besides transportation and global trade. And in supply chain, over the last couple of years, we have been releasing and building brand new cloud products. OTM and GTM are rather unique in that they're cloud products, but we didn't actually build them from scratch. We took an existing product and released it on the cloud. And other parts of supply chain, so for example, I'm also responsible for our order management product. That was a brand new product that we invested a number of years in building out and now just released the first version of our cloud-based order management product. And similarly, we have other supply chain products that are part of that footprint. So going forward, we know that as customers adopt we have new customers implementing new business processes from Oracle. They're going to be using our cloud applications. Order to cash is a very common business process people need to support, and they're going to want to use our transportation and our global trade management product to support that. And so we're using integration cloud services and building out those adapters and those pre-built connectors to support that end-to-end integration. So if you want to become an early adopter of order management and you want to use transportation or global trade as part of that to screen your orders or plan the transportation or provide visibility on shipment status, you'll be using integration cloud services and that mechanism to support integrating those products. In case, if you want even more details, you can absorb that slide. I'm not going to talk through it. I put it in here just so it would be available. But it'll give you a sense of the process flows and the touch points that we are enabling using the ICS mechanisms. Okay. All right, so that's enough about cloud. I want to move on to the next topic, which is user experience. And user experience has become very critical in the evaluation of software applications. So we go back to that Gartner Magic Quadrant. In the assessment of software vendors, one of the key criteria, besides functional capability, is also the strategy that the vendor has around user experience. And the reason for that is because the two most important factors in determining whether a product is going to be useful and successful for you is, one, does it have the functional capability? Can it actually do it? And the second is, what does it take to actually use it? How complicated is it? Right? How easy is it for new people to learn it? How easy is it to extend the use? How easy it is from a day-to-day operational perspective? The other aspect of user experience, other dimension, is, of course, we've had over the last couple of years new technologies, new ways of interacting with our business applications. Right? Old days, we all went to the office. You sat in front of your terminal, you did your work. We have laptops, we're a little more mobile. Now we have tablets, now we have smartphones, we have other means of interacting. And so from a user experience perspective, we have to take all that into account. One, sort of the general usability, and also the fact that people are going to be interacting with our application using different technologies. All right, so we're investing a lot. Now, we use the term user experience, not user interface. It's not a mistake. That's not just a marketing thing. Call it user experience. We use the word user experience because we mean more than just the user interface. We do mean sort of in its entirety, all the things that are involved in using a particular part of the product. Right? So when we talk about user experience, it's about understanding what's the right way to design from a visual perspective, the layout, how the information is presented, the content that's presented, the steps that are involved in completing a task. All of these elements come into play. And this has become a very central focus for us. We have within Oracle now, I've had for some time, a dedicated user experience team. I know at least one of the folks from that team is here today. And this team is tasked with setting the direction and sort of the implementation standards for how different Oracle applications like transportation or like global trade or order management go about implementing and creating software that delivers a better user experience. And that's become a big focus for us. I would say we've generally, not to critique, but some of our user interface efforts in the past, I would say we're a little more database driven. We have nice UIs that allow you to query for stuff, query for shipments, query for invoices, do some edits, save it, and kind of away you go. But that's not necessarily the business process flow-based way or the most efficient way of getting the job done. And so as you'll see once you get your hands on 6.4 and you see some of the areas where we use this new technology, hopefully you'll see that it's not just a new sassier looking or modern UI. You'll also see that we have engineered the business process itself to deliver that better overall experience. All right, so what all does this mean for us or for you folks as users? What you'll see, again, you will see new user interfaces. They will look very different. They will be based on a standard technology referred to as ADF. Give a prize for anyone who knows what ADF stands for. Not you, Paul Hamill. Application Development Framework. ADF. That is an Oracle technology. You can buy that technology. You can use it to develop your own custom applications. And we are standardizing on it across the Oracle realm, including OTM. So no more proprietary kind of UI technologies, all based on a standard technology called ADF. And we're not just using a standard technology, but the way that we're implementing it is, again, using these user experience standards that our user experience team sets for us. Okay? And so by doing that, it's standard-based, and it's also consistent with all the other Oracle applications. Right? And we have started this journey. So 6.4, the work in visibility, landed cost, rate management, and the fleet workbench all make use of the new technologies and the new approaches. And I have to ask, are the guys from UPM here? UPM, where are you? The truck made it to Denver. Made it to Denver. For those of you who may not understand the context of that not very funny joke, for the longest time, whenever I presented about our new shipment visibility, I had a screenshot that showed a shipment that was supposed to go to Denver, and it never actually reached the Denver stop. And so the UPM guys were telling me that truck has never made it to Denver. And I told them that would be the last time I ever presented that slide. So that slide is gone, and we actually delivered that feature in 6.4. So it's done. Made it to Denver. Took about 2.5 years. But the same speed as a rail shipment. All right. So we've done some work. What are we doing beyond that in terms of the roadmap around user experience? You'll see changes in what we refer to as the application shell. That is basically the framework that all the user interfaces have. And we'll also be adopting this Springboard homepage, and you'll see kind of a mock-up of what that looks like on this slide. So it's a nice, again, visual way of presenting the different functional capabilities of a product through those different icons, and then being able to navigate your way into, the freight payment workbench or the fleet workbench or the trade compliance workbench, whatever sort of the functional area, what we call these work area landing pages. And then we'll also be making changes to some of the core user interface constructs like the managers and the finders, again, to bring them up to the new standard. So 6.4 is just a starting point. I wouldn't say most, but a big chunk of the work in 6.4 was getting all of that plumbing in place to use the Oracle, all these tools, the application development framework tools, and enabling it to coexist with our existing infrastructure. And now that we have that in place, now we can focus on more of the visual elements, the parts that you see, most of our users will see, which is in the actual user interfaces themselves. All right, mobile applications. I've talked about this in the past as well. We have our mobile applications ready to go. We did not release them in 6.4.0. We're planning to release those in 6.4.1. So those are the new Apple and Android based, so true mobile apps, not just browser based, but an actual true mobile app that you have to download from the appropriate Apple store or what have you. So I'm not talking about those here, but once we have those applications in place, we are going to continue to enhance around our mobile applications. So for example, some areas that we're thinking about is looking at some of the Ask OTM features so you can access rates or do appointment scheduling or approvals, notifications, escalations, and other areas. As Jim mentioned, we did develop the REST. One of the motivating reasons for developing the REST-based APIs was to support the development of these mobile applications. So if you don't like the mobile application that we deliver, you can use those same APIs and you can develop your own custom mobile apps. All right. The last one I had in the user experience context, check my time here, is the Oracle Social Network. So let me begin by talking about what the Oracle Social, anyone familiar with the Oracle Social Network? There's, again, Oracle people raising their hands. You people don't count. All right, so let me begin by telling you what Oracle Social Network isn't, okay? It is not a place to post family vacation photos. It's not a place to put, funny and cute cat pictures. It's not a place for political rants, okay? So it's not Facebook. Don't put your resume on there, okay? None of that kind of stuff. The Oracle Social Network is meant for business use, and it's meant for use in the context of different Oracle business applications, all right? And so the most important construct I would say that it has is the concept of conversations. So you can think of the conversation as very similar to instant messaging. The difference here, however, is that this messaging and the communication happens inside the context of one of your applications. So within the context of using OTM, it's not or using global trade, it's not a separate, on the side communication tool. It is tied into the application, which means it's tied in from a security perspective. It's tied in from a, auditing perspective, and it has all the context of the application itself. And so what we plan to do here is obviously integrate to it, and that integration occurs at a business object level. So that means when I start a conversation, I'm starting a conversation relative to a particular business object. That could be a shipment, could be a freight invoice, it could be a trade transaction, it could be any of the business entities in our products that we enable for these conversations. And it allows you to have that conversation between other users, so it could be between two different, OTM users, or if you're using other Oracle products like procurement or order management or inventory, you could extend that conversation to users of those products, and you can extend that conversation to any of the external parties who you've given access to. So again, if I'm talking about a tender, I may want to have the conversation with my user from my carrier, or my driver, or my supplier, any of those parties that I want to give that access to. So I think this is a very powerful technology. Some of our other products, like our new procurement cloud product that have adopted it, I've seen really great success with it. All right, so let's go on to item number 3, which is globalization, right? So we'll move away from the technology stuff to more business side. Again, the world continues to shrink. And globalization continues to be a very strategic means by which companies are, getting the growth that they want, growth in terms of their business, growth in terms of new products, growth in terms of new markets, growth in terms of new sources of supply, new places to manufacture, new places to distribute. However, it's not getting any easier to deal with from a regulatory perspective. So the complexity of doing business internationally continues to be a challenge, and of course because of that challenge it creates inertia, it creates means by which things can go wrong, means by which you can lose money. And so globalization was one of those themes going back to, again, back in my time machine, back to 2005 when we acquired G-Log. There were 3 strategic reasons to do it. Again, beer and cake was not one of them. One was to get a market-leading transportation system. Second was to get a product and a set of talented folks from which we could build new products. And at the top of that list was building out a global trade management product. And we released the first version of Oracle Global Trade Management in 2010. If my old brain is still functioning properly, Rose is saying yes, so that's correct. And since then, we've continued to expand on that product, and it's been very, very successful. Last year was by far our best year with the product. So if you're not familiar with it, Global Trade Management enables you to support compliance functions. So beginning with some of the base requirements around classifying your products, so you understand what that product means to different regulatory authorities and how it needs to be treated. Denied party screening. So if any of you ever buy any software or services from Oracle, we are using Global Trade Management to screen you to make sure that we can take your money. The answer is always yes. Okay. If you do happen to, however, be in a business where you have products that are highly controlled because maybe they have dual use, they have commercial use and a potential military use, or it's some type of other controlled technology, and before you ship it, you need to have a license in place. Again, managing that, understanding those types of products, understanding where licenses are required, managing the license, and then customs. So actually producing the necessary information, the documents or electronic filings to get products into or out of a country. So very robust capabilities as we've developed this product now over the last 5 years. And we're going to continue to invest. So a few things I wanted to highlight from a product roadmap perspective. One is around trade agreements. Right? So this is a critical mechanism that a lot of companies use to, again, it enables companies to take advantage of trade programs to either buy products at a lower cost or sell products at a lower cost. So we have sort of a buy and sell side to trade agreements, and we're looking to support both sides of that equation. So on the buy side, again, if you're buying products from your suppliers, being able to analyze those products, determine, okay, which items qualify for a particular preferential treatment, going through that appropriate analysis to document and prove that out, and then being, certify suppliers and transact business. And then there's the flip side. So I'm selling products, and now I'm the supplier, and I need to, again, provide the appropriate documentation or certification or manage that sales process relative to staying compliant so we can take advantage of these preferential agreements. So this is a big area of focus for us going forward. May very well result in a new module being created for our global trade management product line. Another area of importance for us going forward is around this concept of duty relief programs. And there are a number of different programs depending on the country and region. So some examples, duty drawback programs. That's where you bring products into the country, either re-export them or you take those products and you use them to build other products that you then export. And this mechanism allows you to reduce or in some cases even eliminate the duties that you pay on those products that you imported in the first place. And then the last area I want to talk about is our partnership with Descartes as it relates to global trade management. Some of you, again, who have followed or used our global trade management product are familiar with a company called Customs Info. They were our partner from the very beginning relative to providing trade content, so product classifications, duty and tariff information, denied party lists. And recently Descartes acquired Customs Info. It's a little more than a year now. And so we've continued that partnership, and indeed we've grown that partnership. So we've gone from just the content piece to now also making use of Descartes' broader network to support things like filings. So for example, we just recently released support for AES, the US export filings, using a combination of Oracle Global Trade Management and Descartes' Global Logistics Network. And we're going to continue to build on that solution set, both in terms of supporting additional connectivity and filings, as well as content. So right now we're working on a project to expand our customs filings capabilities around support for primarily different countries in Europe, Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, the UK, and France. And we'll continue to expand the sort of out-of-the-box filings that we support through a combination of GTM and Descartes. And likewise, as we add more functionality in global trade management that requires additional content, like rules of origin and support of trade agreements, we'll continue to expand the content aspect of our partnership as well, so that you can automatically bring that content into GTM and make use of it. Okay. Last area I want to talk about is decision support. So why did I call it decision support? Well, it seemed like the best thing to call sort of everything else that didn't fit into one of those other three buckets. All right, so we've got cloud, we've got user experience, we've got globalization, and my catch-all category is decision support. Again, a lot of the feature and function we put in the product really are focused in this area because this is about helping users of our products be more productive, so automating tasks, and helping those users make better decisions. Right, so providing either the information or the actions and the functionality to help you be more productive in your day and help you be more effective in your function. So some examples of that include the work that we've done in fleet management and the work that we continue to do in fleet management. I won't go into a lot of detail here because there's a session coming up a little bit later this afternoon where Srini and Sundar will be going through some of the recent work and roadmap around fleet management. But just at a high level, falls into two categories. One, this is one area where we've made first use of some of the new user experience technologies and approaches and developed this entirely new fleet management workbench with Gantt charts that actually work and maps that are real-time, interactive. When I say real-time, meaning we are actually calling out to the hosted cloud services of our partners, ALK and here.com, so that you can get information in your OTM environment with information like what does the real-time traffic look like. Okay? We've also expanded the planning. Jim touched upon this fleet-aware planning, so that when we're making planning decisions relative to the use of our fleet and drivers and resources, that we're doing that in an even more intelligent way than what we're doing it today. All right. One of the newer areas that we are looking to expand into in terms of expanding our functional footprint is in the area of freight brokerage. Right? And this is coming, we're motivated here from both our logistics service provider customers as well as a number of manufacturers and distributors, so shippers, if you will, who have brokerage needs. All right? And so some of the functionality here is about supporting internal and external load boards. Internal would be, so I'm sharing freight inside of my organization, freight opportunities. Hey, I've got a load, you have a truck, as well as the external, right? It's kind of the external marketplace that's available and supports the brokerage operations. Besides that, there's also functional enhancement needs around pricing, or I should say rating, because again, in the brokerage world, it's not on contract. This is all spot-based, so understanding historical pricing, current pricing. What can I charge for this load? What's been the going rate over the last week, last month? So that's interesting. Lose my volume. Back on. All right. And then the last one that I have here is around rate maintenance. Again, 640 has our first foray. So providing you with a better tool for getting your rates into OTM. It's always a bit of a bear. All right, so now we have a more streamlined spreadsheet-based way of doing that in 6.4. However, once you have those rates in there, you need to maintain them. So we're going to continue to invest here, for example, providing user interface-based ways of managing those rates. And as I've mentioned before, what we've done in 6.4 and what we're doing here in the future, again, is all adopting and making use of the new user experience technology and the new user experience design approaches. Right? And I think that takes me to the summary section. Right, so I'll come back to where I started this, which is we are in a really good place. And so just to show I didn't just cut and paste one old slide, I changed the title. So the title is Strength in Numbers. Does anyone know where that comes from? Someone who's not from the Bay Area? Well, so that was the slogan of the Golden State Warriors, this year's NBA National Basketball Association champions. All right, and what it really represents is that, again, those of you not from the Bay Area may not care about the Warriors, that they're a very interesting team, not like one superstar and a bunch of other guys. A real strong, well-balanced team, starters, deep bench. In fact, it was one of the bench players who ended up being the MVP of the series. Great coaching and great fans, right? And so all of that came together, and that's what produced the championship team. And that's what we have here around this product. Great product, great people using it, customers, partners, and there's no reason why we can't be the champion for at least the next 10 or 15 years or however long it is that I want to keep coming back and doing this presentation. All right. And also for those Philadelphia fans, this also represents hope. So it took about 40 years for the Warriors to win a championship. So the 76ers still got a shot. I think the last NBA championship was, early 80s? Right? So hope springs eternal. Who's counting? Who's counting? Yeah. All right, and with that, I do have a few minutes for questions. Did I scare you with the Donald Trump thing? You're worried what I'm going to say? Really, I won't insult anyone on purpose. Yeah, I think it's Andrew back there.
Hi, Derek. You spent quite some time talking about the ICS, the Integration Cloud Service. Can you share with us regarding the timeline plan?
Yeah, so Integration Cloud Services, so that product is available today. Its first version was released, I think, in May. So if you wanted to use ICS today, you could. By that I mean you could take OTM Cloud and GTM Cloud, and you could use ICS to begin to build integrations. Okay? So that's available today. What we are working on in terms of our roadmap is a connector that makes that integration easier. So the ICS has what's referred to as kind of a generic connector. It enables you to sort of tie into any application. But we want to build one that is OTM and GTM specific. Right now we have that planned for our 6.4.2 release. So it's more than 12 months out, but it's actively being worked on. But in terms of making use of ICS, you could make use of ICS today. There was another question there. Yeah, Greg.
Hey, Derek, you talked about your offering with Descartes and that you could do some ACS filings today. Does that require a separate license from Descartes, or is that all covered by OTM, GTM in the cloud?
I'm pretty sure the Descartes guys give it away for free, from what I heard. No. It's separate. It's separate. And in all fairness, so they're a strategic partner of ours. However, as we build any of the integrations we have with partners, whether it's Descartes for global content or SPS commerce in the carrier connectivity realm, those are all open integration points. So if there are other partners out there, or as a customer you want to integrate in with a different solution provider, you can use those integration mechanisms. It's just we may not have the pre-built maps to all different, all the different variety of choices or vendors out there. But yes, Descartes is a separate purchase. Going once? I'm here all week, literally. So if you have a question that you don't want to raise to me now, you can find me. I'll be at one of the 25 different receptions or so that are going on this evening. So hopefully you can track me down on one of those. And I'll be here for the remainder of the conference. So thank you very much for your time, and I'll turn it over to the next speaker.